This is Business, Equity, and Opportunities.
Hey, good morning. Hope you're having a good Thanksgiving weekend. This is Business, Equity, and Opportunities. I'm Scott Sander. Thanksgiving, of course, means some combination of food, family, maybe football, festive holiday shopping. That's key here. If you're in retail, here's hoping you're seeing a lot of shoppers. For the moment, grab a plate of leftovers and visit with us for the next hour. You know the drill by now. Each week we focus on 7 topics, things that all entrepreneurs face. We talk to people who've been through the process, hoping that their experiences will help everyone. The topics are getting started, accessing capital, the week in business, accounting and bookkeeping, running your business day to day, and industry focus and a success story for inspiration. We're here with a new show every Sunday, either Wish TV or live streaming at wishtv.com. And we post each of our 7 weekly segments from past shows on our website. It's beoshow.com. Scan the QR code with your phone and it'll get you right there right now. We ask you to share those segments with anybody who can use them. And we all, this hour, have separate codes for each segment, so stay tuned with your phone for that. Also listen to the Business, Equity, and Opportunities podcast and subscribe to our weekly newsletter that our team updates every Tuesday. So let's get to the business of business. Here's what's coming up today on Business, Equity, and Opportunities. The silver tsunami is coming. We'll explain. TechPoint shares tips for small businesses seeking capital. CPA Courtney Kincaid with news on the employee retention credit. How a local nonprofit is helping veterans and their families transition from military to civilian life. And we raise a glass from a woman-owned brewery. First, getting started as the year is winding down. Maybe local construction projects are speeding up. We want to remind you the benefits of being a certified minority-owned business. We return to David Fredricks, Director of the Office of Minority and Women Business Development, for a quick refresher on the subject.
This is Business, Equity, and Opportunities. Getting started.
The Office of Minority and Women Business Development was established in 1987. Our office is the certifying entity for the city of Indianapolis. So if you are a minority, women, veteran, or disabled-owned business enterprise, and you want to be certified by the city of Indianapolis in order to participate in city-funded opportunities as well as city-supported opportunities, then our office is where you would come to get that certification. Any business that is domiciled and headquartered here in the state of Indiana is able to be certified with us. We do require that businesses be in business for at least 2 years, but if there is a particular business that is in a specific industry or they have an immediate opportunity, we do have a waiver process that they can apply for to not have to worry about the 2 years of business. But primarily, as long as your business is headquartered and domiciled here in the state of Indiana, and you fit into one of those categories, whether minority, women, veteran, or disabled-owned business enterprise, then you can get certified through our office. We are a big supporter of Indiana Businesses First, and so we are trying our best to engage with as many diverse businesses in Indiana, specifically Indianapolis, but we also know that there are some businesses outside of Indiana that want to do business in the city of Indianapolis. So our job is to assist them to get certified, but then also, like I said, to learn how to navigate the processes of doing business with the city, doing business with the state, and then doing businesses with some of the other agencies and entities that report to the city. On our website, we have a list of all of our certified diverse companies. Right now, we have over 800 certified companies in the city of Indianapolis. And so we constantly update that list. We actually update it on a monthly basis. And that list is there for public consumption. So if you are a business owner or an individual looking to support minority and diverse businesses, you can go to that website and pull up the list and see the companies, and you can search based on industry. If you're looking for a minority-owned business or a women-owned business or veteran and so forth, you can search through all those different mechanisms to identify business. But that list is there for the public to be able to utilize, and we hope that they reach out to some of those businesses as well. And also the other businesses. I mean, that's one of the things that we push is B2B business to business, where we have a lot of diverse businesses who do business with other diverse businesses, and that's a good way for someone who's a small business to start off and to hopefully help them grow. Because a lot of people think that you have to pay to be certified. There is no fee to be certified with the city of Indianapolis. If you ever run into someone or someone tells you that you have to pay a fee to be certified, then you may want to speak to someone else. And that's why we tell folks to reach out to us directly. Your certification is good for 3 years. So you have to apply for recertification every 3 years. We generally will reach out to companies usually about 90 days before their certification is set to expire. And we just say, hey, just a reminder, your certification is set to expire. And then you probably will get another reminder as you get closer to that 30-day window, so to speak. But yeah, certification is good for 3 years, and then you have to recertify.
If you'd like to see other getting started stories, there are plenty of links on our website. It's beoshow.com. You can scan the QR code on your screen right there. It'll get you directly to the Getting Started area. If you have information that's helped you launch or operate a small business, let us know how you're doing. Send us an email at beo@wishtv.com. We might well share your story. Up next, the great wealth transfer is upon us. What that means when business equity and opportunities.
One-on-one conversations with major political candidates from the voters' point of view.
The All Indiana Politics Podcast with Phil Sanchez. Unfiltered. Available in both audio and video format on the All Indiana Podcast Network.
Welcome back to Business Equity and Opportunities. I'm Scott Sander. Talk about accessing capital. We do it every time this week. There's a cultural shift coming, known by several names: the silver tsunami, the gray wave, the great wealth transfer, as more baby boomers age out of the working world and, in our case, out of business ownership. Some will close up shop, others pass it on to family or sell it to new owners. According to Ray Drew, also known as SBA Ray, about $10 trillion worth of business assets are at stake.
This is Business Equity and Opportunities. Access to capital.
Happy to be welcomed by a new guest here on Business Equity and Opportunities, Ray Drew, better known as SBA Ray, kind enough to join us. Thanks for being with us. Your nickname is intriguing and I think very appropriate for our friends watching. What does the SBA and SBA Ray stand for?
The SBA stands for U.S. Small Business Administration, which is what I've been doing my whole career, the past 12 years. There's a 7A program. It's the SBA's flagship loan program, and I use it to help get money out the door to small businesses all across the country.
In that regard, this week you've come up with an interesting topic that I think's been bubbling up for years and years, but now seems to be hitting full swing. This idea of, and it goes by a number of different names, the gray wave or the tsunami. What is it in essence, and how will it affect people on all sides of businesses, big and small?
The last few years, we're really seeing it. I mean, I've been doing this, like I said, 12, 13 years, and the last 3 or so, I've been feeling this movement, and I think it's fueled by what's estimated that 10 or 11,000 baby boomers are retiring every day, and a lot of them own businesses. Mm-hmm. And what we're seeing is that their kids, who are typically millennials, don't have that interest in taking over the family business as much as they used to. You know, these are manufacturing businesses, blue collar businesses, the trades. And so when the sellers go to retire, they're having to sell their business in the open market. And that's where this great wealth transfer comes in. And a lot of people are sitting there, maybe they're in corporate America, and they're seeing it as their opportunity to get into small business ownership.
Is there advice for both sides of this? I mean, you have these people making a very difficult decision. Do they close up shop? Can they find a buyer? And then from the buyer's side, this is an excellent opportunity, it would seem.
Well, yeah, I mean, people certainly want financial freedom, but they also want to work for themselves. But not everyone has that $1 million idea to go start a business. And quite frankly, a lot of startups fail. So when you learn about the idea of buying an existing, already established business, you're able to cut through a lot of that startup risk and move right into a business that's already cash flowing.
Are there structures in place, ways to help that process actually happen?
Yeah, well, like you said, there's two sides to the equation. So the seller side, you kind of have to, one, understand you can sell the business. There can be value in your business, and you should be preparing for that sale years in advance if you can to maximize your enterprise value, right? On the other side, the buyers are taking on both opportunity and risk. So they also want to be prepared and understand how to due diligence the business and make sure they know what they're stepping into. And the structure is typically 10% equity injection, so that's like a down payment. The seller often holds a little bit of a seller note. It's a way to keep their feet to the fire after closing. And then the SBA loan, which is what I provide, typically fills in the gap, which is the bulk of it, like 80%, and sometimes even higher than that.
The SBA portion of this, reach out through the SBA or providers like yourself?
Well, that's a really good question, because the SBA actually doesn't lend money. They provide a guarantee to lenders. So any bank or credit union can make an SBA loan, as well as some non-bank lenders that are in the space. My advice is always work with an expert, work with someone who knows the ins and outs of SBA lending, particularly if you're looking to buy a business, the business acquisition side of SBA lending, because it can do a lot of different things. And that is the one key piece of advice I tell everyone, because SBA is complex. The terms are great, people like it, but there's a lot of hidden landmines laying around.
We've talked a lot about from the side of, for instance, the current owners who are trying to figure out what to do. If there is a buyer lined up, what do they need to do to, in your words, get their ducks in a row for this to happen?
Yeah, so I talk to people every day. This is what I do. And I tell them you need three things. One, you need good credit, a track record of paying your bills on time. That's important. You need cash or assets to borrow against, sort of like a home equity line for that down payment. And finally, you need experience. This is an active investment where you are going to be stepping into the operator role. So you've got to come equipped with certain skills. Doesn't mean you need to know the ins and outs of the industry you're buying the business in, but you certainly should have relevant management experience and transferable skills so that you're well equipped to take over the business.
You mentioned complexities. There's another name for this, the silver tsunami. These are kind of terms that can make you think like this is a daunting time, and maybe some pessimism and some fear reigns. Should we have that attitude, or is this instead actually a great opportunity for people from both sides of this?
Well, think about it this way. There is a loan that I closed last year for someone who had started out as a receptionist at a hair salon, put herself through beauty school, became a stylist, worked her way up, became a manager at the salon. And when the seller or the owner went to retire, they sold it to that manager who was the receptionist. And we facilitated an SBA loan, got a little creative with the structure, and that former receptionist became the CEO of her own business, which was an incredible story.
There may be a tale in there as well worth telling about looking inward for your potential buyer. You may not have even thought of the people who've been alongside you the whole time as maybe being the ones to take things over. Ray, this has been good perspective for us today. SBA Ray Drew, first-time contributor, though I'm hoping maybe a frequent contributor here on Business Equity and Opportunities. Thank you.
Thank you for having me.
If you'd like to learn a little bit more about Ray Drew, the Silver Tsunami, or any of our Access to Capital stories, they're on our website, beoshow.com. We have links to all of our past segments. A little bit later, Courtney Kincaid talks the employee retention credit. Before that, though, TechPoint's Ting Gootee with tips for small business. Time to talk about the weekend business on Business Equity and Opportunities. Ting Gootee, President and CEO of TechPoint, is back with us for tips for small businesses seeking capital.
This is Business Equity and Opportunities. This Week in Business.
Well, thanks very much for having me on the show. My name is Ting Gootee. I currently serve as a President and CEO of TechPoint, our industry growth initiative for our digital innovation economy. Prior to my current role at TechPoint, I spent about 17 years total in alternative finance, particularly around venture investing. The last 13 years, leading up a lot of venture investment programs for the state of Indiana. Financing partner or capital partner, I use the word partner very intentionally. Other business partnerships, even though your customer base you're trying to serve, once you enter into that relationship, it tends to go multi-run. We're all, as business owners, small business owners in particular, establishing the long-term partnership mindset is important because these are crucial elements to making your business success, both short-term and long-term. Capital in particular, there are primarily two forms of capital for small businesses. One is debt financing, these are typical bank loans or other lenders. Those can be relatively short-term in nature. When I say short-term, it could be a 12-month term loan or a 2 to 3 year maturity phase. But switching to the equity-based financing, these are the venture capital come into play. Those type of capital provider are primarily in a long-term investment relationship with the companies they put capital into in return, they receive ownership in. So when I say long-term, these are typically investment relationships will last anywhere between 5 to 10 years. So even in those bucket ranges, it's not I'm getting a check and I'm walking away to do my business. And a lot of times both lenders and equity investors have certain expectations on the capital they're putting into your company. So I will encourage all of the small business owners to really think about capital providers as a long-term business partner that will be instrumental to your success. Aligning expectation up front, right? What is the performance success metrics that you want to sell to the capital providers? Do you have the same alignment? Do you have the same timeline? Do you have the return expectations for the capital you are about to receive? Having those mindset into that alignment going in early on, understanding the expectations really set up for success. As small business owners or business owners general, or business executive in the corporate setting, you're always selling something. You're trying to attract talent, that's selling to talent. You're selling to customers, and similar here, you're trying to bring in a capital provider. Tailoring your message to the audience is really important, and a lot of these capital providers, they vet or screen application like this for a living. So keep in mind they look through thousands, hundreds and thousands in a given year. In order to be able to triage that quickly, this from a mindset perspective, it's very natural for them to automatically put things in buckets. So that's a first step. Which bucket do you fall into from application or business owner application perspective? And the second piece is how do you stand out when you're thinking about you're trying to compete with hundreds of thousands of other people or the business in a given year? Oftentimes I've seen is, again, this is very human. We know as a business owner, I know my business so well. I can get mired into what resonates with me personally and professionally, what I care about, and not necessarily thinking about what's the best way. Oftentimes the most compelling way is pitch. It's a more simplified pitch that will really resonate the audience. So really understand the capital provider will resonate with them. Most of them care about how they're gonna make a profit, to your point earlier, how they're gonna get money back and how they're gonna make profit off of it. So really the aha moment is what is the growth strategy? How does more capital can lead to more revenue? And then, why are you well positioned in this marketplace to win that growth strategy and win against your competitors? It could be a different market positioning. It could be a different product featuring. But what I've seen a lot oftentimes is founders and operators get so honed in about why my product's so great. It doesn't tie it entirely to the next phase. How does it lead to more revenue growth? Because from a capital financing perspective, that's what the lenders and equity providers care most about. Oftentimes, I will advise the business owners to ask for feedback. If it's a no, why is it turned down? And from that, it's usually pretty telling. It's either if you're not meeting underwriting criteria or lending criteria, it's okay, my growth story, my numbers doesn't match up. Or sometimes it's investors or equity or debt investors are not resonating with the market opportunity. So figuring out what from a learning perspective, really tease out the feedback. Folks are usually turning folks down. Either they don't believe in the team can really execute, they don't believe in the market opportunity, or the numbers don't meet their criteria. So those are the three things that will really kind of goes back into the numbers need to support the aha moment story you're trying to resonate and deliver the confidence to the capital provider, you as a leader, and you got the team to really execute, deliver results. Market timing, I think, feeds into the growth story, right? It's part of the why, not just why you, but why now question. For instance, right now, when the market is up and both in terms of this is potentially emerging market, nobody else was doing it, but we believe now is the time for customer to really drive in and buy. That's where that could be a story. A different story could be we're in the down market now because our solution really solve a pain point in terms of cost saving for our customers. So that the market timing really kind of feeds into the growth strategy story. Those two needs to be clearly linked. I think there's capital still available, very much in the marketplace, but from investors and lender perspectives, because of market uncertainty, the underwriting criteria is starting to get a little more stringent. So that does not mean that they're investing less or even lending less. It just means that our founders, entrepreneurs really need to get our stories buttoned up. Again, the numbers need to reflect the strategy. The strategy need to resonate in terms of the overall storytelling.
This Week in Business is made possible by InnoPower.
Also this week in business, entries are open. Tickets go on sale for TechPoint's highly anticipated Mira Awards, 25th year this year, honoring the best of tech in Indiana. The awards gala recognizes excellence and innovation in 18 categories. There are spots available for judges, volunteers, partners, sponsors. Entry deadline is January 19th. If your business has an event you'd like us to mention on our show, send us an email 3 weeks ahead of time at beo@wishtv.com. Coming up, mental health care for veterans. Before that, though, accounting and bookkeeping with Courtney Kincaid. This is Business Equity and Opportunity. Welcome back. Time to look at accounting and bookkeeping. This week's topic, now that we're past many of the problems of the pandemic, what to do about employee retention claims. Courtney Kincaid is president and CEO of the Indiana CPA Society.
This is Business, Equity, and Opportunities, Accounting and Bookkeeping.
So I am back to talk about the employee retention credit again. I feel like we've chatted about it a couple of times, and some CPA members of ours have been on here to kind of give some updates and warning signs of what to be aware of, as scams have been really prevalent in the ERC space. The last time we talked to you, we talked about how to maybe be preventative and not get scammed. And the IRS at that time was really saying, we know that there's bad actors out there, and we're concerned. And their approach at that time really was to say, we're going to prosecute these individuals and there are going to be penalties. Well, they have kept coming in, the ERC claims. So in September, mid-September, the IRS said they're going to do a moratorium on new claims, which meant they were not going to process any new claims until at least the end of the year. During that moratorium, they also said that payments would be taking a little bit longer because they're going to take a closer look at all of these claims. And further, they're going to probably increase audit of the claims. And so all of this increased work means it's going to be a delay if you do have a valid ERC claim. Shortly after that, the IRS also announced a new policy for withdrawals. So the IRS knows that there are consumers out there that have been duped by scammers and are panicked and have every intention of withdrawing their claim. And so they have developed a way to do that. At the current time, the process includes those claims that are currently in process in some way or under audit, so that the check has not been mailed, or if the check has not yet been cashed. So those are the current withdrawal methods, and there are many details, and I'll go over that in a moment. But if you have cashed your funds, there is not currently a withdrawal process. The IRS says that they are working on a process for that, but withdrawing has a lot of benefits if you think that you might have filed a false claim. No penalties, no interest on the income that you have taken. And so this is a really complex claim. It's been really challenging for our CPA professionals because these fly-by-night, scammy type of organizations make it sound easy and make it sound like a lot of people qualify. And the fact is that just isn't true. So twofold, if you're working with a CPA who says that you don't qualify, I'm not suggesting that you don't get a second opinion, but maybe work with another CPA. If you're getting a call that sounds too good to be true by someone that you haven't previously done business with, it's probably too good to be true and you should consult your CPA. So when we talk about withdrawing those claims and what that process looks like, it kind of depends on where it is in the process as well as who initiated that process for you. So, for example, some people have used their payroll processors. They may have to go through their payroll processor in order to submit that claim, that withdrawal claim. If they have the check and it's not been cashed, the IRS is asking that the check be voided and mailed back with a certain claim information. And there is a URL that we provided for you to be able to see those more nuanced instructions.
You can see all of our accounting and bookkeeping segments at beoshow.com. Scan the QR code. While you're there, sign up for our newsletter that we update every Tuesday, and subscribe to the Business Equity and Opportunities podcast so you can listen to our contributors on your schedule. Later, our focus is on the business security industry. Before that, though, helping veterans through mental health hurdles. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Business Equity and Opportunities. Time to talk about actually running your business day to day. InVets is a nonprofit organization founded by veterans that helps former service members and their families transition to civilian life. InVets then connects them with employers and provides career building resources. We caught up with Caitlin Colclaser at the War Memorial downtown. She's the vice president of InVets.
This is Business Equity and Opportunities, running your business day to day.
My name is Caitlin Colclaser. I'm the Vice President of Advancement at InVets. We are a veteran nonprofit out of Indiana. We serve the servicemen and women of all branches. We go across the country and we talk to different military installations regarding the opportunities we have in Indiana. Currently right now we have over 500 companies that we work with and we partner with, meaning that they are willing to hire veterans as well as military spouses to jobs in Indiana. So I've been in the military for about 8 years now. I enlisted into the Army right after I graduated college, about a year after. And then shortly after my enlistment, I decided I wanted to be an officer. So I served my contract, enlisted, and then became a commissioned officer in the United States Army Reserve. So a lot of folks that are coming out of the military, there's no one size fits all, and that's what you have to understand. And so as far as some folks that come out, they want to continue what they do. If they're an MP, a military police officer, they might want to become a police officer in the civilian world. And then others, they did it and they said, I want to try something new. And being able to have those opportunities easy accessible is where we try to help out. So as far as changing careers is where we strive to make sure that we can help servicemen and women be able to find their purpose and what they want to do after they serve. Most of the time when people serve, they get kind of told what they're going to do. They have limited amount of jobs offered to them when they enlist. And so being able to have a spectrum of jobs to be able to go into is great. At InVets, we have over 175,000 jobs currently open within the 500 companies we work with. I'm always going to be biased because I still actively serve and have served, but I will say we're the most trainable type of people. I mean, when you go into the military, you're given a job that you may know nothing about. And then you get trained up, and then the next thing you know, you are a specialist in that, and you are thriving, and you are a leader in that job. And so, given the opportunity, I think that any veteran can strive in whatever industry that they're interested in, just given the opportunity and the chance. So I think as a company looking for good quality talent that may not have necessarily the resume that shows that, but the fact that they serve, which is a whole different sort of kind of quality of an employer you're going to get. I would say majority of folks are those that served one contract, meaning that they served maybe 4 to 6 years, and they joined right out of high school. So those folks are coming back home. A lot of their peers either went to trade school or graduated college. They served their time for our country. They're coming back and they're excited to be able to start the next chapter of their lives. But we also have a lot of folks that are serving 20 plus years. So they're coming back to Indiana, having filled a whole career of time in service, and then either wanting to do a very laid back, chilled job, just wanting to give back to the community, or they're wanting to go on to their second career in their life. The folks that are coming out of one contract, having been in, only a couple years and coming back when they're in their mid-20s, it's a challenge because, having their friends, the people they went to high school with, they did go to college and they did go to trade school, or they've been in their career for a couple years and they, are now getting those promotions. And then someone comes out of the service, they come back, they feel like they're starting at square one. They know that they have to have the lower job, and start from the bottom to then, progress, and it's going to be years before they can get to maybe say where someone they graduated high school with. Even though they have years of experience, professional experience, whether that be in the job that they're applying for or not, they do have job experience, and that's what we're trying to make sure that people identify, that they do have experience in different industries, which is all translatable if you really dig down deep. I think feedback is really helpful. Whenever I meet with companies, I always say, if a candidate is not a great fit, that does not mean that you should hire them, because it's a lose-lose situation. They're gonna end up not being happy if you see that they're not a good fit for your company. And then, you're gonna be upset, and then they're gonna be upset that it didn't work out. So my suggestion is feedback. If they come in to an interview and you interview them, which we love to see, give them feedback of maybe what they could have done better, or maybe another industry that they see they have skills that they could maybe transfer to another organization, company, and maybe refer. But I think feedback is the most important thing that I would say that we like to see. So for over the past year, I've worked at InVets, and I've been able to work with a lot of families that have been able to move to Indiana, and a lot of families that didn't know much about Indiana. I've lived here for over 30 years, and I've been very happy with my time spent in Indiana, and being able to be a part of a transformational period of their life, that they are now going to move to a state that I call home and become a Hoosier, but then also be able to help them find a good quality job where they're thriving in. And I've been able to be a part of those moments in people's lives that I will forever cherish.
Welcome again to Business Equity and Opportunities, and the time when we focus on a specific industry. In this case, an important question in modern business: how secure and safe is your workplace? One man who can give you an answer is Austin Smith, the CEO of Watchman Security.
This is Business, Equity, and Opportunities. Industry Focus.
It all started really just with a public safety heart, public servant heart. I always wanted to help, I always wanted to jump in, I always wanted to what can I do to help? So it started there. And then we got the opportunity to actually execute what was in our heart. And that was cameras, physical security, and all those kind of cool things. The importance of business is having security is basically it's your dream that you're protecting by making sure you have the right security measures in place, not only just to protect your dream, but also to protect the people that are carrying your dream as well too. So it's very, very important. I mean, security should be like your lights. We provide 24/7 command center surveillance, as you can see here. This room is staffed 24/7, and the exciting thing about this room is we have technologies that can support enhancement of information reporting to businesses, rather how many people walk through the door, packages that shipped out, but then I would say the cherry on top would be our gun detection software that we have and that we've partnered with. This is software will give us the ability to detect when a firearm is taken from its holster and actually pointed at an individual or pointed at a building. And just as recently, we actually had our first alert since the launch of the program. We were in this room here, and one of our surveillance officers noticed that someone took out an assault rifle behind a private business and started to practice shooting it in the towards the ground. And this was like 2 o'clock in the morning. What in the world are we doing, right? And our surveillance officers was able to contact the Indianapolis Police Department. They were quick, on time, and that person actually, we have sirens and all those kind of things that we activate, and that person actually took off. So we look at that as a win, right? No one was shot, no one was harmed. Yes, that person got away, but that's one more person that is alive today that went home that night. So we're just excited about that. So on these screens here, what we have are speakers at certain facilities that if we see illegal trash dumping, we can actually pick up the phone and actually talk to that person, hey, you're illegal dumping, you're under surveillance, please, return to your vehicle. And about 90% of the time, Ms. Peggy, they run. There is this kind of stigma. In order to get all of this here, the expense is going to be way up here. Our mission and our focus in this One Watch program is that safety should not be a luxury. Safety should be a given. And so through the One Watch program and all the collaborations and partners, we're going to make that happen. The refusal of, hey, I'll just do it on my own or I'll figure it out, is actually causing more of a problem, right? You get with security experts, like us, you get with the police department, you get with our city that has great programs, and then we start talking and start moving things forward. When you partner with us, you have the ability now to say, hey, I've got a whole command center, right, of surveillance officers that are watching my property, and here is their, certifications, things like that. We're not only just coming in to do the services, but we're also providing some insurance to the property as well too. So it's a great opportunity for businesses to protect their dream and also to reduce their expenses as well too. I really, really, really want to focus on how can we make our city smarter and more connected and safer. And bringing those three things and those components together, that's really our focus and our mission. How do we make our city, our communities, neighborhoods, small businesses safer, connected, and more smarter? Because establishing those three things, it's going to make us more efficient. We're going to be able to be more connected. We're going to be able to support one another, right? In so many different ways. So there's technology that we're working on behind the scenes to be able to start that. Every day I get out of bed, my first focus, besides kissing my wife and my children, praying before I go to bed or get up and start my day, is how can I make a difference today? We had someone that, He overdosed. He was behind a commercial property, and we observed individual falling out, and it was hot. And heat index was just, we knew either this gentleman needed some water or something was going on. So we saw it. Our team left where we are. We of course called 911, all those kind of things, but we were closer. Our team left this spot. We rushed over to that individual and found out that that person overdosed. Our team is trained in administrating Narcan, so we actually administrated Narcan and we actually saved that person's life. There's no check that can pay for that. That's what I wanted to accomplish when we started this business, when we started the services, saving lives, connecting people, and making a difference. That charged me. I mean, that was like, I told my wife, I said, "Hun, we did it. Let's keep pushing, through the challenges and through all that stuff, little things like that, yeah."
Industry Focus is made possible by Circulus Digital Media.
To learn more about Watchman Security, or if you're interested in starting a business and you'd like to revisit any of our industry focus segments or any of the pieces we've put together in the past, they live at BEOshow.com. Share those segments with family, friends, business partners through social media or email. Go to BEOshow.com. You'll see the videos there. Right underneath are buttons that let you share however you wish when we return our success story. So stay with us.
Every business is unique, and every business has a target audience. Circulus Digital Media can help you connect and grow your customer base with turnkey digital solutions that are nimble to reach a customer base that spans the globe. Pinpoint a specific audience down to the smallest details. No matter the size of your business, put Circulus Digital Media to work for you and get results.
Time for our success story, one in progress. Nicole and Ryan Esch met while working in the local craft beer industry and had long hoped or hopped to open their own brewery. They pulled it off in the Twin Air neighborhood of Indianapolis. The result is Ismetic.
This is Business, Equity, and Opportunities Success Story.
We opened Kismetic Beer Company back in April of 2022. Myself and my husband, we had both previously worked in craft beer before, but with the pandemic in 2020, I really had a chance to evaluate what I wanted to do and what kind of impact I wanted to make, and felt that it was our opportunity to go ahead and try to open our own brewery. It started just with a business plan, again, that I wrote during COVID, which was a weird time to write a business plan. Lots of waiting, because obviously for a number of reasons, everyone was waiting to see what's going to happen in the world. But we got the go-ahead to get started in 2021. And then we ran into some challenges with zoning, some things with the city. So it was pretty incredible. We spent about 8 months interacting with the neighborhood, having neighbors help us get signatures, going to neighborhood meetings, and that's ultimately, however, how we were able to get the approval to move forward with this space and get started on our construction. And then Ryan and I, with the help of some of our very talented friends, did most, if not all, of this build out ourselves. So it really was a labor of love in here. So this is 201 Studios. It's home to about 30 or so different artists and makers throughout the whole building. We have furniture makers, jewelry makers, folks that do like large scale light installations, and a little bit of everything in between. So that's our neighbors immediately in the building, which is a great community to be a part of. And in our actual neighborhood, it's been amazing, because a lot of the folks that live here have lived here most of their lives, have live in the childhood home that they grew up in, a lot of them. So it's been neat to have them come over, meet us, and share stories about the history of this building, where a lot of their parents worked here when it was like a radiator factory. We're really focused here on lager style beers, as well as lower ABV beers. Most of the beers you find here will not be above 7% ABV. We also have a really wide variety of beverages that are from other producers, but that are like ciders, seltzers, gluten-free beers, wines, CBD waters, like something for everything. A big focus on non-alcoholic options was really important to me when we were getting started. Basically, what we started designing the product for was something that we wanted to drink. I mean, really what we do here every day is make the beer that we want to have that we didn't necessarily find in the market already. We have some really exciting things coming up. It's actually really timely. We actually just were awarded the Elevate grant. So we had applied for that back over the summer. We just got awarded that at the beginning of the month. So that's going to allow us to make some very substantial upgrades to the brew house. We'll be able to have bigger tanks, brew more capacity, and offer more beer. That also is going to go hand in hand with us starting to offer some to-go beer options. So we've been working closely with really talented designers, Guide and Anchor, to design these beautiful labels for bottles, and we're going to have that coming out soon. Hopefully by the end of the year, but it might be more like Q1. We have a biannual open house here, super fun event. We have, you can stop in the tap room, grab a drink, go out. Everyone always wonders what's back behind the door in the back, and that is the entrance to the rest of the studios. Typically, the building is off limits to the public, but twice a year you can come shop small. Taylor will be here with tacos, and just check out the whole space. So that's on December 9th. It'll be from 4 to 9. Family friendly. The tap room is 21 plus, but the rest of the building is family friendly. And you can just kind of walk around, check out the space. RJ, our landlord, is really creative in how he even just renovated the hallways. It's really beautiful. Yeah, just come check it out and get some Christmas shopping done. It's been really amazing to see the community that's grown out of this space. That's something I didn't necessarily anticipate, and it's been wild to see folks that, you know, were complete strangers when we first opened the doors that now are people that we, you know, routinely love to see, that we see outside of the building. And not just for us, but how folks here have met each other and are now like fast friends has been really cool to see. So that makes me really excited that we are creating a space that feels really good and comfortable and inclusive to everyone, because that was part of it from the beginning.
That is Business Equity and Opportunities for today. Thanks as always to every guest who shared a story. If you want more information about those stories, find links on our website, scan the QR code to get to beoshow.com. While you're there, look for segments from the show from our previous weeks. Watch them, download them, use the buttons right underneath to share them in the way that's appropriate for you. Please listen to and subscribe to our Business Equity and Opportunities podcast on the All Indiana Podcast Network. Sign up for the newsletter that we update every Tuesday with something new. And if you have questions or a success story in progress to share with us, shoot us an email, beo@wishtv.com. We'll see you next week for more Business Equity and Opportunities. Till then, I'm Scott Sander. Have a great day.
Business, Equity, and Opportunities made possible by InnoPower, Bose McKinney & Evans, Gemco, Fifth Third Bank, and Indiana University, Indianapolis.